Mintegral for having us here today. I am the CEO of Tenjin. Tenjin helps app developers measure their marketing budget ROI. So game developers that want to acquire users across various channels like Google and Mintegral, for example, they need to understand for every dollar that they spend to acquire a user, if they get that dollar back in return. And Tenjin powers a lot of the hyper-casual market for these types of app developers. So aside from the technology, this is our customer success and data science team. We have this team specifically to focus on helping app developers understand their user level data about every user they acquire from every channel they acquire them from, and also what the return on investment for every user this is. And as you know from some of the other slides that were shown today, there's millions and millions of downloads of hyper-casual games every single day. And so this team has over a decade of experience analyzing all of that data, terabytes and terabytes of this data for our customers. We also work with all the leading hyper-casuals in the market today. So Voodoo, for example, we work with, Ketchup, Metadroid, Popcorn, Quali, Huge, Say Games. These are all of our customers. So we have a purview into a lot of what goes on in hyper-casual and how to measure the return on investment for all of the marketing that is done in hyper-casual. One last thing, I'll talk about some of the reasons why people use us. Is the customer success and the products, sure. But one of the things about hyper-casual today is that the LTVs of hyper-casual games are actually pretty low per user on an average basis. We're talking LTVs of 20 cents or so. So pricing is actually a really important thing here for these developers, and to develop an infrastructure that allows you to not spend all of your money on the LTV that you get is very important. We all know hyper-casual is growing. 9 out of the top 10 games in the market today is hyper-casual, and 7 out of 10 of them will use Tenjin. Oh, one other thing I wanted to point out. That's okay. So historically, games require a lot of time and investment, and with hyper-casual games, it's actually very important that people are able to get to a certain point in the game, and users are now looking for short distractions at zero cost. And this is why hyper-casuals are actually dominating the majority of the top charts today. Some stats about where we think hyper-casual is going. This is based on a lot of the data sets that we have analyzed across the industry. And the MAU that we see predicted for 2019, for example, is almost 1 billion MAU. To give you an example of the scale of what this is, Facebook themselves has around 2 billion MAU. This is approaching like Facebook numbers in terms of how many users across the globe are actually playing hyper-casual. 2017, there were basically 3 hyper-casuals in the space. Now there's a lot of them. And one thing to notice here is that China is actually starting to appear on the scene. And this is different than some of the slides that I've seen in earlier presentations where everyone is saying that China is not yet on the scene. We are starting to see that happen. And so we actually have some leading indicators that I personally believe will show hyper-casuals are actually moving east for more of their growth and more of their ROI. So we actually see about 82% growth in the amount of spending in China, specifically in the hyper-casual market. And this is actually a very interesting statistic that we see across the entire industry altogether. So you can see the top major markets, United States, Japan, Great Britain, Germany, they have growing CPIs, right? So year over year, you're actually seeing CPIs increase in all of the major markets outside of China. But if you take a look at China, it's actually decreasing. So the CPIs are decreasing for potentially a number of reasons, but one is that there's an unmet user demand in China for these games. So that means players of hyper-casual games want these games, but the supply of those games is not in China yet. And as a result of this, you get a lot of downloads of hyper-casual games, but there's not many hyper-casual games that exist. So you have a lower CPI as an effect of this. The other side of this equation is obviously LTV. So the monetization side of how you can get all of your money back from acquiring your users. So China's eCPM, by showing advertising, was actually fairly low across all of the major markets in 2017. But you can actually see that eCPM is also increasing in 2018 to some of the best in the world. So you take these two effects, you've got low CPIs and you've got high eCPMs. What does that actually mean for moving into growth? So China is going to be one of the places some of these hyper-casuals are going to look for more growth and more ROI. And I actually expect that China will produce the next big hyper-casual game developer. This is all based on data. It's not me just saying things. It's actually a fact. It's going to happen. All of the big hyper-casuals in the West are trying to come into China. I believe that there will be a hyper-casual developer in China that dominates China and then moves west. Okay, so some of our bread and butter is helping hyper-casual developers measure their return on investments through data. And I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how to do this. But first I'll start at a very high level. Why hyper-casuals are actually successful as a business. So this is how you should think about traditional user acquisition for games that you may have seen for MMOs, for RPGs. There's basically a small number of users that pay for a lot of the content. So you might have one user that pays for $1,000 of content. You might have two users that pay for $300 of content. And this is actually how people make their money in traditional MMO and RPG games. Now, the net effect of this is that there's only a small number of users. So you actually have this high necessity to target these users in order to get your return on investment. Now, if you think about hyper-casual, this is actually the complete inverse. You have very low LTVs because it's all based on ads, but everyone in the world plays hyper-casual. And so as a result of this, you can actually create a very large business on hyper-casual if you can target everyone in the world and make 20 cents on it. And so this is how the economics will actually work when you have hyper-casual games. Okay, so what does this all mean? There's a couple of ways you can actually think about this. You can either get profit or growth. That's generally how you run a business. What we like to think of is how fast you can get to your money back. So if you spend $1, how quickly can I get that $1 back in marketing from wherever I'm acquiring these users from? And so we see companies that if they want to just build a small business and they want to, just run it with like 2 or 3 people, that's totally feasible. You want to have a break even on 7 days, meaning that you want to make all your money back within 7 days of the app being live for every user. If you're targeting growth, you can actually go for much longer break-even periods. And growth companies actually look very, very different. So the speed at which you can create a hyper-casual game is very different than a normal RPG game. A normal RPG game, you might release one every 6 months. Hyper-casual studios, as you've seen before, they release games every week. And so you actually have this phenomenon where you have tons of apps that are owned by the same publisher. And so you've got app A, app B, and app C. You can acquire users from the various ad networks and move those users throughout the rest of your portfolio for free. And so you start to think of this not just as an individual app that you're publishing, but you start to think about this as a network. You start to think about this as, can I move users throughout my portfolio of apps as opposed to just keeping them in one app at a time? And this is a very interesting phenomenon because every app produces a certain amount of LTV for you. And if you acquire a user for, let's say, 20 cents, and your first app monetizes for 10 cents of LTV, if you promote them to app B for free, you will make another 10 cents. If you promote them to app C for free, you'll make another 10 cents. And as a result, you make all your money back plus more. And this is what the best hyper-casual studios need to start focusing on, is measuring the network effect and all of the return that comes from that. So, for example, if you've got 300 apps in your portfolio and they all monetize users at 10 cents LTV, that's basically $30 of LTV within your portfolio. So now you can actually start pumping up the CPIs to get more demand, and you can actually get a lot more volume. And so this is the way you should strategically be thinking about building a hyper-casual company. Okay. When you're first starting out, you don't have 300 apps. You have like one app that you're trying to release. And so as a result of this, you need more affordable tools to grow in the initial onset of your own app development cycle. And so if you're monetizing at 20 cent LTVs, you don't want to be spending all 20 cents on tooling. You don't want to be spending all 20 cents on the tooling that you have for your LTVs. All your profit will be gone. So as a result of this, by the way, there is some measurement around this. Hyper-casual LTV is about 5x lower than the average regular mid-core hardcore game. So Facebook actually allows you to research all these creatives and game concepts for free. And this is actually a treasure trove of how you can get started to understanding the marketability of any game that you plan to develop. You can go into this library of Facebook ads. It's online on Facebook, and you just look at it. You can see all of the creatives that are actually available that are being published within Facebook. And you can build your games off of these ideas, the marketability. What you don't want to be able to do, what you don't want to do is build a game that isn't marketable. So you have to start sort of the reverse of what most of you are used to, which is building a game first. You want to think about marketing first, and then start thinking about building levels into your game. You'll also need product analytics. Game analytics is out there for free. This is like what most hyper-casual studios will use. You need a aviation tool. These are some of the partners that we've seen most work with. And then, of course, we help people measure their return on investment. And we have a free starter plan. So the summary, I'll hit a couple highlights here, is that the hyper-casual phenomenon is growing, it's still worldwide. We predict that someone's coming out of China. The adoption of hyper-casual apps has increased dramatically and is starting to move east based on some of the data. Low CPIs, high eCPMs. China is one of the most attractive, for what I just said. And when doing user acquisition for hyper-casual, you need to keep in mind that broad targeting can help you with low CPIs. And keep your, if you have a hit, if your short payback period is within 7 days, and you want to start building a cross-promotional effect and a network effect as soon as possible. Thank you very much.